Many argue that pit bulls are harmless if their owners treat them properly. However, their aggressive nature and powerful bite make them a very dangerous pet to have. Here are 7 of the worst pit bull attacks to have ever occurred. Today's video was requested by Fawn. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comment section below. Number 7. Logan Bratz and Sayari Sanders. In January 2017, a 6-year-old girl was injured and a 5-year-old boy was killed after 3 pit bulls attacked them while they were on their way to the F.L. Stanton Elementary School in Atlanta. The attack happened on the 18th of January at approximately 7:30 a.m. Logan Bratz and his classmate Sayari Sanders were walking towards the bus stop when 3 pit bulls charged at them. According to the police, the attack was witnessed by 3 other children who bravely attempted to rescue Bratz and Sanders by pulling the dogs off of them. Another witness, Shamonte Clayton, told a news outlet that after he had been awoken by the sounds of screams, he rushed outside his house and found one of the dogs standing over Sanders' body. He used his gun to chase the pit bull away, and as soon as he got closer to the site of the attack, he also noticed Logan Bratz's limp body lying on the grass. "I picked up the child's body because the mother couldn't do nothing but sit there and just cry. That hurt me," he said. Angie Smith, one of the neighbors, saw the moment in which one of the dogs started biting into Sayari Sanders' body. Smith rushed to her aid, but upon seeing her disfigured face, she knew there was nothing more she could do. The 2 children were rushed to the Eggleston Hospital. Sayari Sanders was in critical condition, but the doctors ultimately managed to stabilize her. Logan Bratz was transferred to the Grady Hospital Trauma Center, where he succumbed to his wounds. Cameron Tucker, the owner of the 3 dogs, was arrested on January 17, 2017, and charged with 2 misdemeanor counts of reckless conduct as the attack happened near his home and the dogs were not wearing collars. Number 6. Valentin Herrera. 76-year-old Valentin Herrera died in February 2017, 3 weeks after he was attacked by 2 pit bulls in London Heights, Los Angeles. At the time of the attack, which took place on the 2nd of February at approximately 5:20 p.m., Herrera was walking his dog, a Pomeranian called Dodger. An account of the incident was given by Frank Carrasco, who had witnessed the attack and claimed that the 2 pit bulls came out of a yard and charged the elderly man straight away without growling, barking, or showing any form of warning. The first dog jumped on Herrera and started to bite him. When the second pit bull jumped on him, the elderly man was knocked down. His relatives and other witnesses stated in the reports they had given to the police officers that Herrera was trying to protect Dodger from the attacking pit bulls. Unfortunately, Dodger was killed almost instantly, and Herrera was taken to the emergency ward. The severity of his wounds meant that he would require surgical intervention on his arm and brain. It was suspected that as the pit bulls took him down, Herrera hit his head on the pavement. Even though he suffered from dementia and diabetes, which complicated his treatment, his family remained optimistic and expected him to recover after the attack. However, a few weeks later, the doctors told them that Valentin Herrera's brain had ceased functioning. He had 3 children, 7 grandchildren, and had been together with his wife for over 50 years. His family described him as a hard-working, kind-hearted man who, after moving to the U.S. from Mexico, had worked tirelessly to provide them with a better life. Herrera died shortly after saying goodbye to his wife. The owners of the pit bulls expressed their regrets regarding the incident, and the dogs were taken into quarantine, pending a further investigation into the attack. The victim's family expressed an intention of filing a civil lawsuit. Number 5. Guerrero family. A pit bull attacked its owners, the Guerrero family, in their home in Tampa, Florida, after one of them attempted to dress it in a Christmas sweater. At the time of the attack, 2 young children were present in the house, but luckily they were not harmed by the dog. When Brenda Guerrero tried to dress her pit bull Scarface, the dog lunged at her and bit her on the arm. Her husband, Emmanuel Guerrero, tried to intervene, but Scarface bit him as well. The dog survived and continued to attack even after Antoine Harris, Guerrero Guerrero's 22-year-old son stabbed it in the neck and head. The police and animal control were called and soon arrived on the scene. Several initial attempts to subdue the pit bull proved unsuccessful. The dog was still aggressive even after it had been shot with a tranquilizer and a taser. It managed to release itself from the taser's prongs, but was eventually calmed down with a shot from a special gun which carried beanbag ammunition. The police and animal control were surprised by the amount of punishment that the pit bull was able to take before it could be taken away. Scarface was deemed a public safety risk by Hillsborough County officials. They subsequently decided that the pit bull was to be euthanized. Brenda and Emmanuel Guerrero were taken to the hospital in the aftermath of the attack. Doctors determined that even though their injuries were severe, they were not in mortal danger. Number 4. Felicia Hambrick. 24-year-old Felicia Hambrick was the victim of a life-threatening attack when she was bit by a pit bull almost 40 times. When Hambrick's best friend Casey and her husband went on a trip to celebrate their anniversary, she agreed to babysit their 3 children, 2 boys aged 3 and 6, and Sophia, their 8-month-old baby girl. On October 29, 2016, after the children had finished their breakfast, Hambrick heard Roscoe, the family's adult pit bull, scratching the bedroom door trying to get out. Hambrick was holding Sophia in her arms when she saw Roscoe running into the kitchen. The pit bull lunged at Hambrick and knocked her on the floor. She reacted quickly and used her own body to shield Sophia and to protect her head as the pit bull viciously bit into her flesh. Hambrick knew that she was the pit bull's main target, but feared that Sophia would be harmed in the attack. Roscoe bit her repeatedly on the stomach, arms, legs, and neck. In her agony, she screamed for help. Casey's mother was smoking a cigarette outside at the time of the attack. She heard Hambrick's desperate screams and used a broom to chase Roscoe off of her. Roscoe went into another room, which gave Casey's mother enough time to take Sophia to safety. Before she could return, Roscoe circled back and charged Hambrick once more. She remembered her ordeal, saying that at one point she screamed out, "I just want to die. Oh God, please let me die." When Casey's mother came back to help, Roscoe bit her in the arms as well. It would take another 15 minutes to finally chase the pit bull outside. Upon hearing Hambrick's cries for help, one of the neighbors called 911. The ambulance arrived at the house, and Hambrick was taken to the hospital. Despite the severity of her wounds, she managed to recover after being hospitalized for 5 days. Fortunately, Roscoe had not broken any of her bones or torn through any tendons. She would, however, require 94 stitches to close off her wounds. Number 3. Caden Harrison. 6-year-old Caden Harrison from Indianapolis was almost killed by a pit bull in March 2016 while he was playing near his house along with several of his friends. The pit bull had escaped from a nearby yard, and after it saw the group of children, it lunged at the boy. Kenneth Gamble, Caden's father, was shocked and horrified when a neighbor, whose shirt was covered in blood, brought him his son's almost lifeless body. Gamble told a media outlet that Caden's face was covered in blood, and it looked like it had been eaten off. The boy was immediately taken to Riley Hospital for Children. His condition was critical. The most serious injuries were on his face, as the pit bull had chewed one of his ears almost completely off and had bit through half of another. Harrison also had puncture wounds on his knees. Fortunately, initial medical reports stated that the mauling had not affected the young boy's hearing. However, doctors were unsure of how his hearing would ultimately be influenced by the reconstruction surgery that he would have to undergo. The pit bull's owner surrendered the animals to an Indianapolis animal control center, where it was placed in quarantine for 10 days and subjected to an evaluation of its behavior. Due to the gravity of the attack, euthanasia was considered as an option. Number 2. Suzanne Story. In February 2016, Suzanne Story, a mother of 2 from North Carolina, was mauled to death by her pit bull. Prior to the attack, which ultimately claimed her life, Story had been spotted by several of her neighbors as she was walking the dog around the neighborhood. One of them later told a news outlet that the woman seemed to have a hard time controlling the animal. Story had adopted the dog based on an advertisement that she found in the newspaper. The previous owners described the dog as being good with children and well behaved. The attack happened while 36-year-old Story was cleaning the pit bull's crate. Her sister was visiting at the time and tried to pull the dog off of her, but was also bitten in the process. Story was taken to the hospital, where she was unable to recover from her wounds. Randy Brown, the victim's stepfather, held the dog's previous owners responsible for her death. He believed that the animal had had a problem which they did not know how to fix, and thus decided to simply give it away. Number 1. Porsche Cardi. Porsche Nicole Cardi had owned her pit bull Spike for almost a decade, even though her family and Patrick Powell, her former boyfriend, had always claimed that the dog was aggressive. Cardi insisted that it was harmless because she was very fond of it. Despite treating the pit bull with the best of care, the relationship would ultimately prove to be fatal for Cardi. In 2015, the 25-year-old was mauled to death by the very dog she had taken care of for so many years. Initially, Spike had attacked the victim's mother. Animal control and police officials were unsure about what had triggered the animal's violent reaction. Speculations included the occurrence of a loud or high-pitched noise, which might have caused the dog to snap. The victim's family, however, blamed the dog's aggressive temperament. When Cardi tried to protect her mother from the attack, the pit bull turned on her. She was bit repeatedly on the head and body. The autopsy later revealed that the victim had died at the scene. Cardi's mother required surgery, but later made a physical recovery. Spike was euthanized and examined for signs of rabies, but the result was negative. The pit bull had not attacked anyone in the past. Therefore, the investigation continued in order to determine what had driven it to kill its owner. 6-year-old Dunya Sibomana, his 4-year-old brother, and one of their friends were playing near a river close to Virunga National Park in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Tragedy struck when the boys were attacked by a troop of chimpanzees. It was believed that because of the poaching and violence inside the park, the chimps viewed humans as enemies intruding on their territory.